It's going to be a very cold, rainy, icky day this Memorial weekend. So I decided I want to make some chicken noodle soup. Hello friends, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the kitchen. Like I said before, it is cold. When I say cold, my cold and your cold are going to be totally different. If it's below 70, I'm cold. And it's in the very, very low 60s today, and I am cold. So I decided I'm just going to make some chicken noodle soup. So I took a pack of my cut up whole chickens, and I'm just going to get that on the stove in some water and let that boil until the chicken is done. So I've got the 3-gallon stock pot out, and I've got about a little bit more than halfway full of water. And we're going to just drop our chicken in here. This is just a raw whole chicken that we cut up together. And put a couple bay leaves in there and some salt. And then we're just going to bring this up to a boil until the chicken is done. Now the water that the chicken is cooking in is going to be our chicken stock to make our chicken noodle soup. So we're just going to leave it on the stove, let it do its thing, and then we'll take the chicken out. We're going to shred it up, get all the bones off of it. We're not throwing the bones away. We're going to actually use that in our future chicken stock. So that will go in the freezer, in our freezer bag for our chicken stock. And we're going to be making some homemade noodles. Now if you don't want to make noodles, you can use the egg noodles you could buy at the store, or whatever pasta you like. Actually, it doesn't have to be an egg noodle, but I am going to be making an egg noodle because I make all my pasta with eggs, therefore they're egg noodles. And that's what we're going to be using as our noodles for our chicken noodle soup. The chicken is still on the stove cooking, but we're going to go ahead and get started on our egg noodles. So I have flour, 2 eggs, salt, olive oil, and water. That is all you need. And I'm actually going to be making these egg noodles by hand. So we're going to roll it out on the island right here, and then we're going to cut them up into egg noodles. You can make them as wide or as long as you like, but we're going to make them so they're like fit on a spoon. So we're going to make little bitty ones. You don't need special equipment. You just need ingredients and time. Now you know I do have an attachment to my KitchenAid. You saw the last video where we made lasagna. I did use that, but I showed you how to do it by hand. And that's what we're going to do today. So in the bowl I have 4 cups of flour. We're going to put a good pinch of salt in there. We're going to mix the salt in with the flour, and now we're going to make our well. So we have our eggs in the well. We're going to drizzle about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to beat the eggs in the center. Then we're going to slowly incorporate the flour into it. Now we're going to get in there with our hands. Like I said on the last video, just hold your fingers together and you're just going to stir it in And every now and then you're going to do a knead, then you're going to stir it in, and you're going to knead, and you're going to stir it in. We're going to slowly add in our water. Again, hold your fingers together. Still have a little bit of flour bit in here. That was a total of 1 cup of water so far. We're going to knead all of this loose flour into our dough ball. Always make sure you're working with clean hands and a clean surface. We have it all incorporated. So we're going to let our dough rest for a minimum of 30 minutes until we're ready to use it. It's probably going to be longer than 30 minutes, but that's okay. You can actually put this in your refrigerator right now if you're not planning on using it till tomorrow or the next day. You can stay in your refrigerator for up to 3 days in this state. But we're actually going to be using it today. But you want it to rest for a minimum of 30 minutes, no more than 2 hours on the countertop. If you're not going to use it within 2 hours, please put it in the refrigerator for up to 3 days. Now you can also, after it's rest for 30 minutes, go ahead and cut your noodles out, leave them on your countertop, and let them air dry. Or you can hang them up on a pasta drying rack and let them air dry completely, and you can actually store this for future use as dry pasta, just like you buy at the store. But we're going to be using this today, so I'm just going to leave it here on the countertop until we're ready to flatten it out and make egg noodles. Now we're going to go ahead and flatten out our pasta into noodles. We're just going to do a little bit at a time. It's been resting for about 45 minutes. We're going to work with one piece at a time. I have a rolling pin and a pizza cutter. We're still going to laminate our dough by folding it in half. We're going to do this a total of 3 times. And now we're just going to roll it out really thin. I'm going to show you 2 ways to cut this. First one is just using a pizza cutter. And now we have an egg noodle. We're going to set that aside. and work on another piece. And we're just going to do this until all of our dough ball is completely flattened and cut into noodles. First we're going to laminate. And now we're going to roll it out thin. And another way would be rolling it up. Taking a knife and you can actually leave it a long noodle like this if you like, or cut them up into little bite sizes. And if you leave it like this, it's actually like a fettuccine noodle. Make some homemade Alfredo sauce and you have fettuccine Alfredo. Alright, I'm just going to work on the rest of those. And then we're going to get started on making our soup. Alright, this is the last piece. You want to make sure you keep them well floured so they don't stick together. Alright. We're done with the flour for right now. I went ahead and took the chicken out of the water. Now we're going to go ahead and get it deboned and de-skinned. Still a little warm. This is going to go in a freezer bag in the refrigerator for when we need to make chicken stock. And that is our chicken. So I have a pack of frozen corn, some frozen onions, some frozen green beans, and some celery and carrots that are frozen. That's about a cup. And our chicken and our noodles. So this is the pot that our chicken was cooked in. I do want to find the bay leaves if I can. Alright, oh, I had it and I lost it. Okay, and there's one. The bay leaves have done their job, so we're done with those. We're going to put our chicken back in here. Let's go ahead and add all of our vegetables. We're going to bring this up to a boil and let it boil about 30 minutes, and then we're going to slowly add in our noodles. Went ahead and got a quart of stock out of the pantry. There wasn't enough liquid in the pot for the noodles we made, so go ahead and add a quart of stock to it. We're going to go ahead and add some pepper, a little bit of salt, and I'm going to add a little bit of thyme, maybe a half a teaspoon. Thyme and chicken go very well together. We'll put a lid on it, but we do have a opening right here so that we don't have a boil over and it can vent. We're going to go ahead and get started on the cornbread. I have a cast iron skillet here. I'm putting about a quarter cup of coconut oil. I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees. I'm going to put this in the oven so the oil will melt and the pan will get super hot. I have a mixing bowl. Now this is polenta, and you can get this from Azure Standard. I just have it in a glass 1 gallon jar, and it was 5 pounds when I got it. But polenta and cornmeal is the same thing. Polenta is a little bit more coarse than cornmeal, but this will work just fine. We'll put a cup of the polenta or cornmeal, a cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, we're going to add 2 eggs, alright, we're whisking the eggs in with the cornbread and the flour. And we're just going to add enough milk. And this is a powdered milk. It's an A2 powdered milk that I hydrated with some water. Buttermilk will be good in here. Heavy cream will be good in here. But this is what I have. So that's about a cup of milk. And now this is optional, but I like honey in my cornbread. So I'm going to add about a quarter of a cup of honey. I'm going to mix that in. our hot cast iron with the coconut oil. We're going to pour a little bit of that in here. We're going to still leave some in the pan. Now we're going to dump our batter into the hot cast iron skillet. And this is going to go back in the oven. And then we're just going to bake that until we can insert a toothpick and it comes out clean. I'll let you know how long that takes when we pull that out. We're going to go ahead and give our soup a stir. The vegetables are not done yet, but we're going to taste it for seasoning. Needs a lot of salt and pepper. So good. I love soup. Okay, our soup is finally boiling. And we're just going to let that cook for 30 minutes to make sure all those vegetables are done. Then we're going to add our pasta. Now we're going to go ahead and add our egg noodles. So we're just going to pick up a hand at a time and just slowly drop them in. Be careful, it will splash up and burn you. Try not to smush them together. You want to separate them as best as you can as you're dropping them in the broth here. Ouch. Hot, hot, hot liquid, hot liquid. Give it a little toss. Oh no, I left a whole wing in there. Huh? Someone's going to get a surprise. That's all the noodles. And we're just going to let that cook for a few more minutes till the noodles are done. And then we can have some soup. I'm going to add just a little bit more salt and some pepper. Our cornbread. The center's coming out done, so the cornbread is ready. That took 20 minutes. Look at that, it's beautiful. beautiful soup. The perfect day for soup and cornbread. It's cloudy, it's rainy, there's a little chill in the air. It's just perfect for soup. So our chicken noodle soup. Grab some noodles. It is so hot. It's hot. Mmm. It has the right chew on that egg noodle. It's not soggy like you would when you cook pasta. It's not soggy. It has a bite to it. It has a good chew. Oh, that is so good. Try some cornbread. Cornmeal is very fine ground corn, where polenta has it's coarser. And because of that, it gives it a texture. Unlike cornbread, it has some solid bits in it, and it's so good in cornbread. If you haven't tried polenta cornmeal in cornbread, I suggest you to try it. A little bit of honey just to add some sweetness to it. Smother it with butter. Mmm. That is really good. I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me on this cloudy, rainy Memorial weekend. If you are currently serving in the military, or if you have served in the military in the past, I just want to say thank you for your service. Thank you to your family who has sacrificed so you can protect our country. And if you don't mind, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. We would love to have you part of the Grammy family. This is a kitchen where we do scratch cooking with real ingredients from a great company called Azure Standard. A lot of the ingredients that we have used in today's meal was purchased with Azure Standard. They have drops all over the country. Go to the link below and check them out. And if you don't mind, go ahead and be a member. They do drops once a month. Pick a drop that's close to your home. Go ahead and start buying your ingredients from Azure, because it's a company that only sells whole foods. They do have some convenient foods on their website, but I always buy the whole ingredient. And then you can make scratch-made meals like we are having today with their cornbread and their chicken noodle soup. I do get a credit of $25 if you use my link to purchase from Azure. But you also get your own link on your first order, that if you refer someone to buy from Azure, you also get $25 for whoever buys from Azure using your link. It's a company that sells non-GMO foods and ingredients, as well as organic ingredients. Depending on your budget and your family needs, you can get everything from Azure. So if you haven't already purchased from Azure and you're on the fence of whether you want to or not, just use the link below and check them out. And until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, friends.